Alright everyone, I don't normally do match reactions and talk about games, and I haven't been watching the games, but by chance I watched the game on Saturday night. It's the first time I've watched the whole game, a proper sit down and watch it kind of thing on Saturday evening, because I was out with some mates and the tellies were everywhere. The first thing that struck me was how quickly drawn in I was to watching it and kicking every ball and heading every ball and getting animated and things like that, which I didn't think, to be fair, I didn't think I would be. Maybe it's because you're out and about, and there was a few City fans and Scousers and stuff as well, so I was probably feeling a bit protective of the boys. But it's really interesting for me to watch the game, and just wanted to give a few of my thoughts, and some of it is linked back to the bigger picture at the club anyway. We look a really mediocre team, and I think I'm being quite kind. Newcastle could have won that game 5-0, and I don't think it'd have flattered them. We gave it a go in the last 10 minutes. We put them under some pressure. But in general, when I'm watching the game, I'm thinking, what are we trying to achieve here? What's our style of play? What have they been working on in training? It was just survival ball. It was just, let's try and stay in the game by hook or by crook, and then hope for a moment from someone like Bruno or Garnacho on the counter-attack to do something special. Which is exactly exactly the way we played with Ollie in the entire time he was at the club. And there's an expiry date on that, as we know, as to how long you can keep doing that for. Erik ten Hag, I've got two schools of thought. Erik ten Hag in training is probably thinking, I hope anyway, that he's got a style of play that he wants to try and embed. And he's looking at these players thinking, flipping it, I'm going to be able to do it with these. And there's no sign of any massive changes coming in terms of to the squad. So I'm stuck with these. And maybe wants to do something that we're not seeing on the pitch because the players aren't good enough to do it, or not motivated to do it, or whatever. Or he doesn't know what he's doing. Because those are the two schools of thought I've got. Because watching that game on Saturday, as I say, there was no style of play. There was no control in the game. We didn't have control of the game for any of it. We pushed for the last 10 minutes, but that wasn't control. That was desperation to try and get something out of it, which at least we gave that, I suppose. And then the fallout's been really interesting because the whole team has been slated, really, in terms of lack of running, lack of effort, and all those kind of things. And I'm looking at it thinking, there's players in there that I don't like, but bar two players, I'm not saying McTominay's not trying, or Maguire's not trying, or they don't look like they're not trying. They just don't look like they're not good enough. They're not confident enough. They haven't got. They look like a team. The players don't feel like there's a belonging or a camaraderie, or like there's something to belong to that you feel proud of. I don't really blame them in many respects for that, because United's a shit show. But that's the observation I would have of it, and no style of play. There's two exceptions to that: Anthony Martial and Marcus Rashford. They look like they just don't care. And Martial's long since had that languid style. He's a little bit like that, and I think probably, to be fair, he gets stick because he's French, and he does have a very laid back. He's a bit of a smug look about him. Martial's a very talented boy who's never fulfilled his potential. Rashford gets a free pass because he's from Wythenshawe. That's not my criteria for whether I give you a free pass or not. My criteria is whether you work hard and try. He doesn't try. I'll forgive anyone who's not very good, and he isn't very good, who lacks ability, and he does lack ability, if they work hard and they work back, and they I would say to my team when I'm coaching them, because I coach an under-13s team, I know what 100% looks like, and it looks different to every person, but I know what it looks like. He is not giving 100% of what he's got, and if that's 100% of what he's got, then we need to sell him. I'm staggered that it's taken Keane, Carragher, Gary Neville this long to say something about it, because I've watched him for throughout the last 4 years walk around the pitch like he's better than he is, like the world owes him a favour, like he's doing us a favour by playing for us. And then the narrative that he puts out there is that he loves United and that he's desperately hurt by these accusations that he doesn't try hard and, you know, nothing could be further from the truth. I'm a dyed in the wool. You can guarantee that's, I'll write it for him if he wants. That's coming out in the next week or so. Him coming up with something on social media where he says all the right things about how passionate he is about playing for our club. He is an absolute chancer who's stealing a living from the club that he professes to love. And I'm not interested in excuses. I'm not interested in whether he's carrying an injury or he's got problems in his personal life. Okay, then take some time off unpaid and sort it all out, because you've got enough money in the bank, so go and do that. You won't do that. So if you're playing, you try your best. Doesn't try his best, and that's what I can't forgive. Fred was not a great player. Fred put in some of the worst individual performances I've seen for a player of that money that we've spent on him. But I didn't dislike Fred because he worked hard. He tried his best. It wasn't good enough. So, if Erik ten Hag continues to pick players like Rashford, and not just pick them, defend them, and place a lot of importance in them, then you'll get what's coming to you, Erik. I've defended Ten Hag. I think that I can forgive the fact there's no style of play. It looks like we're playing survival ball. It doesn't look any different to Ollie. I can forgive that because for me, although he spent £400 million, I don't think he's got the players he wants. And a lot of the players that he doesn't want are still there. And I think it's a toxic environment to work in. And he's got the Glazers as the owners. So I can forgive a lot of that and look past that. But if you keep picking players who don't work hard, who don't try, who don't run, then you're going to get sacked. And I don't have any sympathy for you. Doesn't it come to something as well when you think the criteria for thinking someone's half decent now is that they try their best? I was looking at Maguire on Saturday and thinking, not a fan of Maguire, I don't think he's very good, but it looked like it mattered to him. It looked like he cared. And I'm thinking, oh, Maguire's having a good game. If he wasn't having a very good game, it's just that he looks like he gives a shit. But that's become the criteria for success now, or criteria for praise within a United shirt. You see it when players leave in the last 10 years. Ashley Young said it. I always gave everything when I pulled on that shirt. And, yeah, you're supposed to. You're getting paid a lot of money and you play for Man United. I don't know what problem with Ashley Young, by the way. I'm just saying, I think players, when they leave now, know that there's other ones around that squad that aren't doing that. So they use that as a point of difference. I'm someone who tried my best. Yeah, so you bloody should. That's bare minimum. And now we're treating that as fans as like, that's something to shout about. I look at body language. Marcus Rashford has the worst body language in the squad. It's worse than Martial's. And everything Carragher said last night was spot on. When you're a local lad, whether you like it or not, it's on you. You have to be a role model for the rest of the team. You have to set a tone. He looks like a sulky little kid. And as I said before, he looks like the world owes him a favour. And that he's doing us a favour by playing for us. This isn't hindsight. I said it 3-4 years ago. I think there was talk 3 or 4 years ago that maybe Barcelona and PSG were interested in him. I would snap your hand off if someone gave us anywhere near 50 million for him. And he's been given a bumper new contract. How many goals has he scored this season? I'm not counting the penalty last week that Bruno gifted him. It's made no difference whatsoever to his confidence by the look of it. Has he scored 1 goal, I think, other than that this season? In the league, I don't know about other competitions, 2 or 3 maybe. How many assists has he got? So he ain't doing the things that he's paid to do. Okay, then so let's then look at what's his application like. His application is non-existent. So you've got a player who doesn't try, doesn't run, doesn't look like he cares, and is doing nothing in terms of assists and goals, and he's an attacking player. Why is he in the team? If Marcus Rashford is dropped, or we sell Marcus Rashford, will Man United suddenly become a great team again? No, absolutely not. He's one of many problems. But he's an indicator, he's a symbol. And whether he likes it or not, unfortunately, because he is quite high profile, because he is a local lad, because he is probably one of the highest paid players in the team. I'm sorry, but yeah, you have to take that on your shoulders. A couple of videos ago, it might have been my last video, I said this season's got Solskjaer's last season written all over it. And what I saw on Saturday just confirms that that's what this looks like. What we know about these players is that when it gets tough like this, they don't come out fighting, they don't come out with their chest out, they don't come out with their shoulders back, they don't come and surprise you and give a performance where you think, fucking hell, where did that come from? They just continue to do the same stuff. They'll beat teams that they should beat, probably, like we have done all this season, but that'll be about it. We won't get a surprising performance from this team. Now, last year, when Eric first arrived, we played Liverpool at home, and everyone was fearing the worst. And they came out and gave an incredible performance, buoyed by an unbelievable atmosphere. And that's the first time in 3 or 4 years where I've thought they've done something that surprised me. But they're back to where they were under Ollie now, where it's just like, well, training's too difficult, don't like the way he treats the big players, all that might be fair enough, but you work hard and you give your best, and they don't do that. And for me, sorry, I do think that some of them do try their best, they're just not good enough, but they're not applying, I think, what's been asked of them. And it's only heading one way at the moment, and that's that Ten Hag's probably going to be another one, another victim of the club in general for me. I said, like, I think it was in the last video, the season's done, it's finished, there are no big games for Man United. And when I watched it back and I reflected and thought, well, maybe that wasn't the right thing to say, like that's probably a bit of a slap-ass type thing to say. But watching on Saturday, unfortunately, I think I was right. There's no news, by the sound of it, of anything happening with this 25%, Sir Jim Ratcliffe. I don't think it's going to be enough to bridge the gap anyway, but at least it'll be better than nothing. And it's broken. Team looks broken, and it's reflective of a broken club. Happy Monday, Glazers out.